Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me is Arundhati Ramanan. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Byju's and Swiggy face a decrease in their valuation from US investors. As per reports, BlackRock has cut the valuation of Byju's by nearly to $11.5 billion. India's most valuable startup was valued at $22 billion. Meanwhile, Invesco has marked down the valuation of Swiggy from $10.7 billion to about $8 billion.
Nuveen, an American investment manager with over $1.1 trillion of assets under management, has invested $30 million in Aviom India Housing Finance for about 33% stake in the mortgage lender through a combination of primary and secondary market deals.
User engagement platform Comet Chat has raised 40 crore rupees in a venture debt round led by Utah-based Xeon's venture fund. Where funds raised will be used for scaling up its product offering, strengthening its presence in Europe and expanding data centers strongly in the APAC region.
Zomato partners with mobility as a service player Yulu to provide 35,000 e-scooters for intracity deliveries. About 25,000 to 35,000 e-scooters will be given to delivery partners onboarded on Zomato's platform on custom-made rental plans. This is part of Zomato's plans to transition its delivery fleet to 100% electric.
Google is planning to reduce its expenses by cutting down on the perks offered to employees such as free snacks, laundry, massages and workout sessions. According to a report by Business Insider, Google CFO Ruth Porat sent a memo to Google employees saying that the company would be taking measures such as consolidating some of its micro kitchens. Those are the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening. Restaurant table reservation, food discovery and payment platform EazyDiner has raised 40 crore rupees in a fresh round of funding from DMI Alternative Investment Fund, the Sparkle Fund. EazyDiner can be accessed and used at over 12,000 restaurants in India and Dubai and has also partnered with 15 leading banks. The venture claims it helps customers save close to 40 to 50% instantly on every meal. To tell us how, joining me now is its founder Kapil Chopra and with me my colleague Arundhati. Kapil, welcome to Startup Street. Now, EazyDiner currently has over 3 million users and has grown 5x in terms of diners and over 18x in terms of payments of restaurant bills on the app in 2022. What has led to this bullish growth, Kapil?
I think, so thank you, Shruti and Arundhati for having me on the show. I think the world's really changed a lot. And you know, if you really look at my background, I used to run Oberoi Hotels as the president of the company, and I quit to become a full-time entrepreneur. But there was always a belief that India is a young aspirational country. And in any young aspirational country, eating out will be a prime driver. Somehow when COVID happened, a lot of people felt that people are not going to eat out, that everybody's going to sit on their bed, order in food delivery and watch a Netflix movie. But, you know, the world doesn't operate like that. People like to eat out. I think what's really helped us is we've been very clear about our vision of making sure that India eats out better. India is a young country. It's an aspirational country. I think anything consumer that you build with a great customer service focus in the next 10 years is going to do well. I come from a consumer background all my life, really. So we kept on building it correctly. And as you know, as of the last year, I know we've done very well and grown exponentially. But if you really look at it, even last weekend, could you even get a table on the weekend? Or you had to stand in a line? We're just making that easy. We're just making sure that even on that weekend when 200 people are waiting outside the restaurant, you're able to go in and get your table instantly. And there's always a great deal from the restaurant. And then there is a phenomenal deal from one of our payment partners, which is 18 of India's top banks.
Okay.
So all that coming together has led to exponential growth for us this year.
Okay.
I think also, I think we've been very much aided by how the market's really changed in a significant way from eating at home to eating outside home.
Okay. So, Kapil, you spoke of building a business correctly, and EazyDiner is among the few consumer internet companies in India which are profitable. So what do you do differently? What did you do differently? And also take me through your current revenue growth numbers and future projections.
Okay, so, Shruti, it's very easy. Like I said, I came from a background where I was running a listed company. Yeah, so I understand what accountability and quarterly results mean. And I also know what it takes to kind of build a company from an entrepreneurial base, like what we've done at EazyDiner. But I think we always kept the value system straight. So it was not discounting too much. It was not, burning cash. It was always build a great business make sure there's a great service. Now, if you look at some of the top restaurants in India, they're exclusively with us. You can't even book them anywhere else. I mean, some of the best restaurants in India, like Bombay Canteen, O Pedro, Masala Library, Whiskey Samba, Indian Accent, Bukhara at IDC, they're all with us, really. Olive means, you know, I can go on and on with Four Seasons, St. Regis, Trident. Most of them are exclusively with us. And we are powering a 10-second reservation. So once you are solving a clear consumer problem, once you have a very clear idea of how revenue is to be structured and how will you make revenue on your business, then I think profitability is not something that, you know, you come and make a statement and say, you know, we're going to be profitable by 2025. Means I think that's an incorrect statement that I hear a lot of times. But I think you can be profitable when you want to be, and we are profitable, and we are significantly profitable because we built a real business with real revenue metrics.
Right.
And I think I don't think it's really difficult. I don't think we need to throw money, burn money. I think what we need to do is substitute a great customer service. I mean, some of the best companies in the world are actually not burning money, are actually ensuring that they have great revenue metrics. And we've decided to focus on that. And we kind of kept our head down during 2 years of COVID, which was very tough because the world was not eating out and there were so many restrictions on timings and everything. So I think if you build correctly, if you use customer service as a moat and authenticity as a moat again, then I think it's not really difficult to build a profitable business. And that's why we survived. Yeah, we survived COVID while a lot of people went through a very tough time, especially in the restaurant and eating out space. And also our competitors, went through a very tough time. So did we. But I think we just executed very well. And that's a credit to the team at EazyDiner.
Yeah, it was a hard time during COVID. Hi, Kapil. Arundhati here. How many restaurants have you onboarded and how many more are you targeting by the end of this year and the next financial year?
Okay, so great question, Arundhati. So we have 12,000 restaurants enabled for 10 seconds instant confirmation. So just go onto the app, book your table within 10 seconds as you're on the move, as you're going towards, let's say, a Cyber Hub in Gurugram or a BKC in Mumbai or an Indiranagar in Bangalore. Just book your table. That helps the restaurant plan better. So, you know, it's a great initiative. But 12,000 restaurants are live as I speak to you to accept payments from 18 banks. Now, please appreciate the complex infrastructure that we built. So 18 banks instantly discounting. So if you have an Axis Bank credit card or an IndusInd Bank credit card or an ICICI Bank credit card, up to 1,000 rupees off your bill instantly. So we've kind of built that entire tech stack on eating out. And at the current rate, we're adding anything between 1,000 to 1,500 restaurants every month. So by the end of this financial year, we will definitely be at close to 30,000 restaurants as we've ended 31st March. So over 12,000 restaurants are already instantly live on the platform in over 30 cities. So that's what we built. But just to give you an example on why this exponential growth's really come in, it's very simple. Let's say you and I go out for dinner at a very good restaurant in Mumbai, let's say Masala Library. The restaurant gives a 25% off. Let's assume our bill is 6,000 rupees. The restaurant gives a 25% off. So your bill is instantly at 4,500 right now. Now, the moment you use any of the credit cards, which is Axis, ICICI, Kotak, American Express, I can go on IndusInd, any of the cards, another 1,000 rupees gets shaved off. So suddenly your bill is 3,500, while the table next to you is paying 6,000. That's the advantage that EazyDiner gives on a real-time basis.
Absolutely.
So that is why most of our growth has been word-of-mouth referral and organic.
So
as we add more restaurants, it gives, like, for example, both of you more choices to eat out every single day.
Absolutely. So 30,000 restaurants by the end of this financial year. Let's now talk about PayEasy, which is the payments product from EazyDiner. How many users does it have? What are the transaction volumes? Do you have any plans of hiving this off as a separate subsidiary?
So you see, I think, so I'll tell you, how do we look at EazyDiner? We think about it that, let's say, Shruti and you decided to open up a pizza parlor tomorrow. So if you open up a pizza outlet tomorrow, so EazyDiner will do the content, 5 top best places to eat pizzas at if your pizzas are really good. Then secondly, you can make a table reservation. Third is you can use a payment product and you can pay for it. So what are we doing? We're building out the entire eating out stack. So the answer to your question is no, we'll never hive it off, although it's a very profitable business, because it's a part of the entire eating out stack. So all you need to do is make sure your food is good, your service is good, the sales, the marketing, the distribution, and aligning with 18 bank partners is all going to be handled by us
Okay.
at EazyDiner. So it's actually a complete stack. And at the current run rate, means I can only tell you about, every founder that you speak to will speak very highly about their product, but our viewpoint is very simple. 18 banks partner with us. That's more than the entire e-commerce network across fashion, travel,
Okay.
shopping, any other, consumer electrics, durable brand. Just put it all together, put EazyDiner on one side, and we have more credit card offers on EazyDiner.
Okay.
If you put all of them together.
All right. Okay. Kapil, let's talk about the competitive landscape. Your views on the Zomato Gold and Swiggy One loyalty programs. While EasyPay, like you said, offers more than just reservations and discounts, payment programs and VIP tables and much more. But Zomato and others have a large reach to lure customers to use their platform to make reservations and avail benefits. So how do you plan to take on competition?
So first of all, both Zomato Gold and Swiggy One are great products, but both the products are focused more around food delivery and not around restaurant discovery and restaurant reservation. So I think it's a restaurant reservation discovery as an ancillary part to their product, while at EazyDiner it's our core product. We don't do anything else. We only make sure that you eat out better, that you're able to save better, and you're able to get your table in 10 seconds. Now, both those programs that you mentioned are actually not reservation programs. They are, payment discount platforms and more focused on delivery. I love both those programs, but actually they do not really compete with us in any significant way. And as per the reach, if you really type out any restaurant in Google, are reserved with Google. So basically, we're able to fulfill your transaction exactly on Google, even without coming to EazyDiner. We've partnered with Google for the last 4 years. So every time you search a restaurant, so I think even from a reach perspective, I think we have a significantly higher reach. In the world of eating out, I think we are the largest player in India today. And that is why this funding round, post-COVID, this is the first time a company on eating out has been funded. And I was listening to some of the headlines that you had. I'm not at liberty to disclose what valuation, but it is more than double of the last round. So we haven't cut valuation.
Okay.
All right.
I also was listening to the headlines on your show on people laying off and cutting costs. We are hiring across 100 positions. And I'm not saying it on the show. It's on the LinkedIn profile of EazyDiner. You can see we're hiring 100 new roles right now as we speak to you. So we are extremely bullish about the entire Indian eating out landscape. We believe it's just started.
All right, Kapil. So at double of the valuation, as you were saying, you've not laid off anybody. Thank you, Kapil, for joining us on the show today. And we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you, Stuti. Thank you, Arundhati. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. Coming up next, a special conversation with Meti Startup Hub CEO Jeet Vijay on the G20 Digital Innovation Alliance, collaboration with tech giants, and what angel tax means for the startup ecosystem. Stay tuned for that. Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. Now, Meti, in collaboration with the Atal Incubation Center and Birla Institute of Management Technology, recently organized the Startup Kumbh G20 Digital Innovation Alliance, which saw participation of 100 startups. On the sidelines of the event, my colleague Aishwarya Anand caught up with Meti Startup Hub CEO Jeet Vijay to talk about G20 Digital Innovation Alliance, collaboration with tech giants, and what does the angel tax mean for the startup ecosystem. Take a look.
G20 Digital Innovation Alliance is a program launched by Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India, which focuses on bringing the startup ecosystem from all the G20 nations plus 9 invited guest countries to India. The idea is that innovation should not be in silos.
Correct.
And the digital platforms that we have built, be it Aadhaar, be it Cowen, be it ULIP, be it DigiLocker, be it UPI, and many more, ONDC, NDHM, Correct. So these are population scale projects that India has executed in a very startup oriented approach.
Now, I also wanted to understand from you that, MeitY has partnered with tech giants like Google and Meta. So tell me, what kind of challenges do you want these startups to solve for India, and what kind of startups are you looking to foster in the near future?
In the last 7-8 years, the first wave of startups that we created had focused on incubation. So we have worked with all the IITs, IIMs, triple ITs, and various government colleges and private colleges, where we set up a lot of incubators, and now 90,000 plus startups are there in India. But to scale the startups, you need a different kind of support system. And corporates are a very critical element of that support system. And hence we partner with be it Meta, Google, Microsoft to bring their expertise to startup. With Google, we have done it for App Scale Academy, which is to support app developing startups from tier 2, tier 3, so that we can have more of the scalable startups coming from there. With Meta, the idea was XR, AR, VR, and XR technology. As we move towards metaverse and mixing of physical reality with the virtual reality, we need to develop a talent pool and an ecosystem around XR technologies.
After the proposals to amend the angel tax provision, now the government is also examining valuation rules for this on overseas investments in startups, right? What does this mean for the Indian startup ecosystem?
See, again, as any ecosystem that develops over time, there's a maturity that comes in. And every time we do something, we learn from it. And our government has been very proactive with regards to it. And our Honorable Finance Minister has been very proactive in coming up with elements in the budget or in provisions where startups can have more ease of doing business. And within that framework, we are looking at how do we learn from the Silicon Valley Bank collapse that happened. Right? A lot of Indian startups that have migrated to US or are banking in US, how do we support them? So we did a listening session under the leadership of our Honorable Minister of State, Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji, last week, where he interacted with startups from India and US who are banking with the SVB and are in international market. And they gave a lot of feedback, which are being under deliberation and consideration, and see how we can implement that. Second is we have to create a more inclusive and enabling startup funding ecosystem. For example, SBI has come up with Startup Branch. Now the idea behind SBI Startup Branch is to bring all the SBI products for startups under one roof. And I think that would be the way for a lot of banks to think about not only providing services more easily to startups, but also coming up with more startup-friendly products.
Now, MeitY has released draft amendments in relations to online gaming. I want to understand from you what changes are being proposed and how are you addressing some of the concerns that are coming from the industry stakeholders.
I can assure you that our minister, our Honorable Minister of State, as well as our Union Minister, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, are working very proactively, listening to all the stakeholders from the industry, academia, associations, and the users to come up with policies, frameworks, guidelines, which will not only address the issues today, but protect the rights, but enable the business at the same time.
The global tech company FIS in a recent report has examined payment trends in over 40 countries and found that India has emerged as a global leader in payments thanks to UPI and its next generation real-time payment infrastructure. Now, this report shows that the cash usage in India has declined rapidly from 71% of POS transaction values in 2019 to just 27% as of 2022. And meanwhile, e-commerce account-to-account payments have also grown by 53% to $12 billion as of 2022. Joining me now to discuss the findings of this report is Harish Prasad, who's head of Banking India at FIS. Harish, thank you very much for being with us here on Startup Street. If you could start by telling us what are some of the most interesting findings from this latest report, especially as far as India is concerned.
Well, thank you, Ritu, for having me here on this show. It's a very interesting set of findings that we have. Of course, there's some very obvious ones such as UPI and UPI volumes, which have increased by leaps and bounds and hitting 7.8 billion in December 2022. But at the same time, we see some very interesting statistics around the use of electronic wallets as well, right? Which again, for various reasons, and probably more specifically due to the linkage back to UPI, have grown significantly. up to almost, I believe, 35% of, especially on the point of sale side, I think almost to 35%.
What are the trends that are playing out to support the thesis that, cash usage is coming down?
So the account-to-account transfers are what are hitting, account-to-account payments are what are hitting cash significantly, and I think the infiltration of UPI into the rural markets, we believe will continue pretty strongly, and that will impact cash usage as well. And again, I mean, there could potentially be an angle we expect to develop over the next year or so, in terms of the CBDC, the retail CBDC taking off and directly impacting cash as well. And again, that's not evident from this year's report, but we expect that once that is launched fully, we expect that will impact cash further. But again, rural offtake of UPI, we expect will start to increase, and that will drive pretty much reduction in use of cash over a period of time.
What will get us to this next big leg of growth in digital payments? Because offline UPI is something that's in the offing. Is that going to be the game changer, or what do you think are some of the challenges to be overcome?
Yeah, the offline UPI aspect is mainly to address certain issues we have with UPI as is, right? I think that you're right. I think to an extent that will definitely help. And most of that, though, is also going to impact and positively impact the urban use of UPI for payments. But we expect you're right. On the rural side, that will have a big impact as well, because again, connectivity and availability of good connectivity is required for UPI, and that's something you typically tend to see have more issues when it comes to rural markets. We expect that to help. And again, I think overall, the general use of cash continues to decline on the retail side. And I think that trend, especially driven by convenience, right? I think that we expect will drive growth on the rural side.
The report says by 2026, account-to-account payments are projected to increase their share in e-commerce payments from 15% to 24% by 26. What is going to drive this kind of growth? What would be the enablers for this?
The account-to-account payment space, going back to India, right? India, and especially in India, is directly, the growth there is directly driven by UPI. And again, UPI, especially when they're linked back to accounts, will drive that growth. And again, if you were to look at the kind of growth we expect, and even if you look at the historic growth on UPI, year to year, we've consistently seen that grow by leaps and bounds. The footprint of UPI usage has expanded as well to various other use cases, and I think we also expect that to go beyond just retail into certain corporate use cases as well, and that will also expand the use of account-to-account payments. So I think there are a variety of factors.
Harish, even the e-commerce market, according to the report, is supposed to grow from $83 billion to $150 billion by 26. Here, of course, the use of digital has been a key driver, but what else is going to get us to that number?
There are multiple factors here, and again, there have been three main drivers of e-commerce growth. One, of course, is the fact that you have more adoption and more people getting online. I think that is definitely a factor. The second factor is availability of more payment options, and as payment options available for online e-commerce expand, we've seen growth being driven by that as well, right? And especially UPI was definitely one thing that gave a big fillip to online e-commerce. The third factor is, of course, and will continue to play a very important role, is access to credit at pretty much the point of purchase. Of course, credit cards continue to reasonably do well, at least in India, at least from a value perspective. BNPL, and again, that's the other aspect on credit driving expansion of e-commerce. I think that will also start to play an increasing role in terms of expanding e-commerce growth.
All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.